Them say one woman could stop bullets with her bare hands.
Eu bia botou bio caça na caça mati papatia from kambada pikibobi kamari.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to this channel once again. Thank you for the love you keep showing us. Thank you for always coming back to watch our videos. Every time we make a new video, every time we upload, you're there to support us. If you are new here, please make sure you like this video, hit the subscribe button, because this channel is about this kind of conversations. So today I'm here with yet another historical, interesting conversation. A group of people who escaped slavery, defeated the British Empire, forced Europe to sign treaties, and were never conquered. These were the Maroons of Jamaica, and today we are breaking down who they really were, where they came from, and why Jamaica still stands on their legacy. It's not folklore, it's documented history. And if you're Jamaican, Caribbean, African, or just someone who respects freedom, this story matters. I have a compilation of videos here, so please guys, let's watch these videos until the end, and then I'll be back with more reaction afterwards. Thank you.
Say one woman could stop bullets with her bare hands. Legend or not, what's certain is Nanny of the Maroons led her people to freedom in the mountains of Jamaica. In the early 1700s, enslaved Africans fled the brutal plantations and vanished into the Blue Mountains. This rose Nanny, a leader, a strategist, and for many, a spiritual guide. The British Empire saw the Maroons as a threat. Every French patrols. The Benhan sent coded calls through the valleys, summoning fighters in a British line and sent survivors stumbling down the slopes. By 1739, the British were forced to sign a treaty with the Maroons, granting them land and autonomy. It was a victory unthinkable at the time. A community of formerly enslaved people forcing one of the world's strongest empires to bow, bend the knee. Today, Nanny of the Maroons is remembered as a national hero of Jamaica, a warrior queen, a mother, and a symbol that freedom is worth fighting for.
I can't help but wonder why they never taught us about this woman in school. One of the greatest generals to ever fight slavery was not a man. She was a black woman. And the British Empire, the biggest empire on earth, had to bow to her. Meet Nanny of the Maroons. She was born in West Africa, most likely among the Akan people, before being stolen and shipped to Jamaica. But the chains couldn't hold her. She escaped into the mountains. And instead of disappearing, she built a whole society out of freedom. The Maroons weren't hiding. They were thriving. Farms, families, schools, and an army led by Nanny. To the enslaved on the plantation, the Maroon towns weren't rumors. They were proof that freedom was alive. And it was possible. The British couldn't explain her power, so they called her a witch. Said she used obeah to make her fighters invincible. But the truth was scarier. Nanny was a strategist. She trained her people in ambush warfare long before anyone called it guerrilla. Her warriors struck fast, melted into the hills, and came back harder She freed hundreds of enslaved Africans, pulled them into her ranks, and made the plantations tremble. Every raid was a message. The system could be broken. And for over 20 years, Britain tried everything. Muskets, cannons, bribes, spies. But a woman they dismissed as powerless kept humiliating them. And finally, in 1739, the unthinkable happened. The British signed a treaty. The empire that ruled half the globe had to recognize free black people in Jamaica. Nanny of the Maroons wasn't a victim. She was a general, a queen, a woman who proved that you could fight slavery and win. Today, her face is on Jamaica's $500 bill. But her real monument is in the truth that she left behind. That freedom was never handed down. It was carved out. It was fought for. It was protected. And Nanny showed the world that when black women lead, even empires have to bend. Say her name. Nanny of the Maroons. Phenomenal woman. Phenomenal.
So let me ask you something. Who else been standing up for Maroon and fighting for Maroon? Why are they attacking me? Something there, they're not true. Something there, they're not true. Let yourselves not be fooled anymore. Lady.
Here we have Chief Richard Curry explaining the process of becoming a Maroon chief.
A curious question I have is, how do you become the chief of such a powerful group of people?
So the chief is elected via ballot, right? This is by way of the Constitution, which was ratified in 2021. That's available online, sovereignstateofacompound.org. And essentially every 5 years a ballot is casted, and the nominated persons would then be in line for being the next elected. The nomination process has certain prerequisites. You have to be a Maroon, you have to reside within the territory, among other things, just to name a few.
So how is somebody tested to ensure that they are a descendant of a Maroon?
So first it starts with the bloodline and asserting the family history and being able to ascertain where your family was at the time of the signing of that treaty. Because if you were on a plantation, then you weren't considered a Maroon, right? And the key thing I forgot to mention with regards to the definition Maroon, in my opinion, being a Maroon is having a mentality of freedom and liberation. You will know that the Haitian Revolution was started by a Maroon from Jamaica called Dottie Bookman. He went and joined the Allies in Haiti to fight the oppressors. This was years after the Maroon had gained their independence, 1738. So it is therefore essential for us to understand the connection between our brothers in Haiti who are fighting for their rights, fighting for their freedoms, which they already did,
right,
hundreds of years ago. It's no different here, only that in Jamaica, the Maroons allowed the British to stay.
Now, the question has been proposed to me. Who are the Maroons? Who are the Maroon people of Jamaica? Listen to this, brother, because I'm really propose a good question.
Is it actually a country or is it a community? Because Jamaica is a country, right?
Question.
I would want to know, how can we have a country inside of a country?
Excellent question, brother. I'm glad to say you propose it. No question is a dumb question. First of all, yes, it is true. The Maroons are a sovereign nation. They are a sovereign, free people. Let me repeat this again. The Maroons of Jamaica are a sovereign nation. All right, let's talk about a story now. In this picture, you will see the Maroons literally forming a treaty and have of many different treaties they had to form with the British. You know why? Because the British quickly realized that when they were trying to colonize and perform slavery in Jamaica, they quickly realized that they could not defeat the Maroons. So because they could not defeat the Maroons, they had to form several treaties with them, and one of the treaties includes that they are a recognized sovereign nation. They are a recognized sovereign nation and a recognized sovereign free people. The area which is designated as cockpit country, which includes well over 100,000 hectares of land, belongs to the Maroons and their descendants, right? Meaning that all the laws before 1962 independence of Jamaica, right? All the laws and treaties that were in effect will still be in effect. It is written in the Jamaican Constitution. So it's already in the Constitution, and the problems that the Maroons and we as Jamaican people are having today is with the Jamaican government, with the current Jamaican government, because they do not even want to recognize what is written in law, in paper, in the Jamaican Constitution. So they are performing, the Jamaican government is performing fraud. Now, this beautiful lady that you see behind me is Nanny of the Maroons, Queen Nanny of the Maroons. She is my ancestor. She is my mummy. And every Jamaican know who Nanny is. She's a very powerful Obia woman, and the British feared her very much so. Now, every Jamaican, hear me clearly when I say this. Jamaica, the Maroons are literally the physical representation of the past, present, and future of our story. And we must protect them. We must join them. We must support them. We must also join and support each other and come together and be loyal to each other. Because it's only when we came together, like in Nanny time, that we defeated the system. Remember that. Come together.
Here was the only entrance to the Maroon village, because we never make road or anything. Because the English in them big shoes couldn't manage them a place here. That's why they couldn't have access to Scadsar. We always use the river as a road.
Council, we want to tell you thanks for coming here, and we look forward in everything being a success. We said thanks to Yen King Kong, which is the Almighty God. We say we are Kamba, knocking our family. We are Kamba, knocking our family. Bless.
Eu bia botou bio caça mati papatia from Kamba na Pikibobi. Kamari.
Right. So, tell me what that means, Mr. B. Where yourself? We get the picky bowl part, right?
The pleasure ourselves.
No, but more than that, just your pleasure yourself, because it's our land thing. Yeah. Right. And it says something about picky bowl. Picky bowl.
Mati property.
Right, but the picky bowl part is pick the child, right? Right. So with the rest.
With the rest? He be there. Chamu yetu.
Yeah, right.
Tax from a laboson.
Yeah, me know. Yeah,
so they know, so no. No sabi?
Me sabi. Me know one thing where Mr. Story used to like sing the driver giving leaf to talk to Busha. Yeah.
Dry baggy milli pick body. Dry baggy milli pick one foot no boy today. La hero me walking. Oh la hero boy me walking. All I hear boy, they're walking. All I quote on a boy today. So much you have to walk 50 minutes, I can't get booked. Check by Gilly, if you go to go walk it out to you, bush, I was telling that I'll be bush, I'll quote a boy. Chosen no come to him because making no so when you want thing, girl. Then it's come is getting so simple thing to go. Lanko no boy, today boy. All I hear you work in a way. All I hear me working.
Thank you very much for watching until the end. So guys, who were the Maroons? The Maroons were enslaved Africans who escaped plantations and built free communities in Jamaica's most dangerous terrain. The dense forests, mountains, swamps, cockpit country. The word Maroons comes from the Spanish word cimarron. This word means wild, untamed, unconquered, and that description fits perfectly. They didn't just run, they organized. The majority of Maroons come from West and Central Africa, especially Akan people from Ghana, Congolese groups, Ashanti warriors, Coromantee people already trained in the guerrilla warfare, forest survival, military strategy, spiritual warfare. So when they reached Jamaica, they didn't panic, they adapted. The Maroons chose the Blue Mountains and Cockpit country for a reason. These areas were nearly impossible to navigate. They were full of sinkholes, caves, and cliffs. They were deadly for outsiders, perfect for ambush warfare. British soldiers feared these regions. They called them death traps. For Maroons, they were home. The Maroons mastered guerrilla tactics, surprise attacks, fake retreats, jungle camouflage, Abeng horn communication. The Abeng made from cow horn allowed Maroons to communicate across miles. By the time British troops had the Abeng, they were already surrounded. British records admit the Maroon knew the land better than they ever could. That's not victory, that's humiliation. Let's be clear. Nanny was not symbolic. She was not a myth. She was a military leader. Queen Nanny. She led warriors, outsmarted British generals, united communities, used spiritual intelligence alongside strategy. To this day, she is a national hero of Jamaica, one of the most successful resistance leaders in world history. Not male, not European, a black Jamaican woman. Sit with that. In 1739 and 1740, something unheard of happened. The British Empire signed peace treaties with the Maroons. Not surrender documents, not ceasefires, treaties. What does that mean? It meant Maroons were recognized as free, their lands were protected, their leadership was respected. The British didn't win, they gave up. Maroons preserved African culture deeply. Drumming, ancestral worship, herbal medicine, language patterns, African cosmology, romantic ceremonies today still carry Akan spiritual systems. This wasn't rebellion only, it was cultural preservation. Without the Maroons, slavery would have lasted longer, resistance would have been weaker, Jamaica's spirit would be different. They proved something powerful. Freedom is possible even against empires. The Maroons didn't wait for permission. They took freedom. Jamaica was not built only by chains. It was built by people who refused them. The Maroons were not victims, they were victors. And every time Jamaica stands tall, their spirit stands with it. Little island, big resistance, and conquered soul. One love. If this story moved you, share it, because history like this isn't meant to sleep. It's meant to wake people up. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our channel because I'll be back with more educative, interesting content. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.